Hi guys, I'm just back here with another video on the DSO5202P international model, and I was just going to go over the Analyze Bus feature. And with the Analyze Bus feature, you got the option, it gives you the option of going from SPI to I2C. As you can see, you got those drop down menu items. You can select 8 bits, 32 bits, and your high pulse width. I usually set that to about 4.2 milliseconds, but that's all dependent on your device and how fast it's doing SPI, and you're gonna have to measure that with your oscilloscope cursors. Like, you're gonna have to find that high and low time of your clock pulse. Okay, so like it takes a little bit to get this screen to show up, and this is like, if you can get this screen to show up with the waveform shown at the bottom, then the decoder will work. It's just a few parameters that you have to go through and adjust the I believe it's the end time has to be changed, and sometimes the mode, like the clock polarity mode, if it's on 0, it might only, depending on the type of SPI protocol, it might only decode like 8 of the 16 bits shown here. So you have to kind of do your research and figure out what you're actually looking at. See that time down there, you got to change that to get it to come in, but it can be a bit finicky, you know. It's not easy, and you can change the data type from hex to decimal. There's that drop down menu there. Always make sure it's connected to. Sometimes you won't get data because it's not actually talking to the scope. And then here I'm just showing you can change the window that it's looking at, and it's best to put those actually like right up against the clock. I'm just kind of showing how it can change like the scaling of the clock pulses. So that's kind of crucial to make sure that those two green cursors are lined up with your clock pulse, the yellow on the top. And then I'm kind of going in and showing you can change the background colors. It gives you that options in the property, and you just right click. I'm kind of just going through and trying out some different colors here. We could do gray, or maybe this kind of blue, but I don't know about that blue, but yeah, we can do this weird purple color, and that doesn't really look very good. So let's just go to something more neutral and maybe something more original. And I think you can change the colors of your traces too, so if you don't like what it defaults to, you can change it to whatever you feel like. So then how do I get the bottom screen to show up, right? So here's the bottom screen showing up now. You gotta click on some of these settings and get the cursor even. That's a big part of it. But sometimes you're gonna have to just play around with these settings to get it to work. I mean, this software is kind of flaky, which is what it took me a long time to figure out how to get this to work. But it does work. I originally didn't think this actually worked for anything because it's not super easy to use. But yeah, I mean, here it is actually working, huh? So it's just a matter of like clicking those boxes and going through it and making sure your clock pulse width is the right length. And I changed it to navy blue so you can kind of see the contrast. Now, why is the second bit not showing up? Well, that's where the clock polarity issues come in. you know, and that's in the settings too. But that little scroll menu is kind of not the easiest to use, I'd say. Right here, you gotta find it and see CPOL, clock polarity. You click that to 1, and now you get all your bits, and it's dependent on those high pulse width, low pulse width. So I mean, by the time you get this set up, you'll be an expert in SPI to the point where it's not even all that useful. But it is interesting, and it can be useful if you're going through a lot of data, I'd say, and you know, you don't want to sit down there with a pen and paper and count the squares. But SPI is not the worst protocol to do by hand, but this does make it a little nice once you can figure out how to get it working. But you know, there's the demonstration for you guys, since some of y'all asked. Oh,